myself again. But it's the only way.
And then there was two. Welcome to a New Year's edition of the NUFC Matters 3 Amigos. As you will appreciate, time differences mean that Neil is obviously a little bit ahead of us. It's 9:30 where he is, and he is trying to find somewhere quiet to be able to pop on and say hello. So we might get him in the next hour, we might not, but we've always got plenty to talk about anyway, and I'm sure me and Steve are more than capable of doing the show together with your help in the chat. So Steve, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks very much, Steve. Looking forward to the end of 2021 and the start of hopefully a better year in 2022. You're probably exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a hell of a year for a lot of reasons. But I guess, the main talking point has been, October and October the 7th, the day which will be ingrained in our mind for many, 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 many years to come. And that, of course, was Aman Ramir's work paid off and they took the club over. The happiest day we've had in a long time.
Absolutely. If you look back on the previous 2 or 3 years that we had, personally and together on that roller coaster ride of emotion, for to have it all come into place on that day, and the fact that even up till 4 o'clock on the 7th, I think Amanda is quoted as saying that they still didn't have the guarantee that it was going through, and they were waiting for that phone call. It must have been an eerie time for them, and quite a concerning time when you know that there's a 305 or 310 million pound or whatever it was waiting to drop out of your bank account into somebody else's, or at least the main bank account, and thinking, Christ, this is going to happen, and you're waiting for the nod from a banker, and I mean BNKER there, or anyone thinks I've got it mixed up, waiting for it to drop. But I mean, when that news came through, I mean, you and I, we'd heard earlier in the day that things were happening, and in fact, we'd heard the previous night, hadn't we? That there were the rumour mill that was coming through. But tremendous, absolutely tremendous. That day, I think, when we get down to the three main questions the only three questions that we're talking about are three main points, and I think that one point is going to be the catalyst that draws everything else together. And that's why I think, like every Newcastle fan, we're sitting there waiting for 2022. We're waiting for the chimes to go on Big Ben at 12 midnight, and then everybody goes, the window's open, and then God knows what's going to happen with Newcastle United.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, the questions that I'll put to you and Mitch, and hopefully Mitch joins us and we can get his answers to this. So let's get the answers to your questions, and then you guys in the chat, just ping us your answers as well. 3 questions: your player of 2021, your goal of 2021, and your best moment of 2021. So, Steve, we'll go in reverse order. Is your best moment of 2021 the takeover?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, yes. No, there's no question in my mind that was the defining moment. It was everything that we'd been praying for, looking forward to, thinking it wasn't going to happen, all rolled in. The emotion of that day, and if those who have watched the show all the way through on NUFC Matters will know that there was, you and I took it really, really strangely. It was that sort of Nuttall's Minto, sort of moment where everything just unravels, and it was like, God, is that it? Dear me, it's happened, and it was really strange, and it was very emotional. And I think for me, when I got into town and I met Keith Patterson, I met Jed, Sonny, and Liam Kennedy, and we went into 9 Bar and we had a pint. And we just watched the whole thing sort of explode outside. And then we went in and stood at the Sir Bobby Robson statue along with thousands of others. It was just an outpouring of sheer elation, emotion, everything. The thought. I mean, everybody was just so excited at the whole fact that we'd been taken over and it had finally gone through. But also it was the end of that 14-year era of Mike Ashley. The outpouring of emotion was just tremendous. It's something that you'll probably never experience in your lifetime again. Certainly for me. I mean, yes, we may go on to success, but at the moment, just that feeling of that's it, it's done, it's happened. This club is now going to be in with a possibility of moving in a totally different direction to the one it's been lumbered with over the last 14 years. And it was just sheer elation, joy, exuberance among watching young people just being so excited and buoyant, and everybody together and bumping into people that you hadn't seen for months and in some cases a couple of years because of the lockdown, and just being around them and listening to them and celebrating with them and feeling part of it. It was just absolutely amazing, Steve, and so that for me is my moment of 2021. There's probably been other moments within my personal life, but you know what, when it comes to NUFC matters, that mattered the most in terms of the 365 days of the year. That was the big one.
Yeah. Okay. Your goal of the season?
Right. My goal this season,
Your goal of the year, sorry.
Goal of
the year.
Goal of the year, yeah. Now, my goal of the year, I'm going to go to the game against Southampton when Joe Willock scored his first goal for Newcastle. The reason I'm picking it, there's the man himself. There he is.
Like a ghost from the ether.
You're not in Paddy's shed, are you?
No, nearly. I'm outside Goodfellas. We've had torrential rain, so the outside area's shut unofficially. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not outside Goodfellas. I'm outside Nelson's in the middle of the town. So I'm sat on a stool, so I'm not sitting in a puddle. I've got a little uplighter next to us for some lighting. And I've managed to get them to turn the bloody music off at least outside. So, yeah, we'll go. At least I made an effort.
Well done, mate. We've only got 50 minutes to go, so don't worry about it. Okay, well, look, Steve, hold that thought with your goal scorer. Yeah. We're going in reverse order, Mitch. Your moment of 2021, is it the same as ours? Ours was the takeover, of course.
When the takeover was announced. No, I'll tell you when it was. I'll tell you specifically when it was when I got sent a copy of the flight manifest with everybody's names on. And we had that discussion about who was on the plane. And even some of the people who were on the plane were denying to you, Steve, that they were coming. But it's like, we've got a copy of the bloody flight manifest from Oxford. Mate, that didn't come from Newcastle either, mate. I must reiterate that at all. Newcastle was locked down properly. Somebody down south leaked that out and then put it to me on Twitter. And then basically asked us, how can I put the toothpaste back in the tube? I'm like, too late, mate. too late. You've gone public with it. Yes, that moment when my head allowed my heart to do what it wanted to do, because you just knew, basically, in the delegation that was coming up, from being that it was going through, and that moment, that sort of hairs on the back of the neck, standing up moment, that is the moment. Simple.
Okay, getting back to you then, Steve, with your goal of 2021.
Yeah, as I say, it was the Joe Willock's first goal against Southampton. The reason I picked that is because for me, it showed the qualities of two really good footballers. The first quality was ASM. When he picked that ball up and he went down the left-hand side, he got past his man, he got into the box, and then he had the foresight to look up and play the ball into space in the penalty area, round about the 12-yard point, at which point, flying in from midfield like we love to see, and what all good midfield players should be doing, supporting the attacker and supporting the man, and he runs in, and it's the easiest of goals. He side foots it into the back of the net, takes the ball in his stride, and he hits it. But for me, it was the fact that it was like pinged down the left, pinged into the box, and a runner coming in. And that's the way that I like to see football played. I like to see it played quickly. I like to see the ball moving effectively. And I like to see players that lift their head up and play the ball to a teammate or into an open space where they know that there's a teammate going to be. And that, for me, was my goal of 2021.
My goal was more for the significance of the moment, I think, and that was in May. this year. And it was Sheffield United at home. I was one of the privileged 10,000 who got into the very first game once lockdown was lifted. And again, Joe Willock got the goal. And you know what? I can't even remember the goal, but it was just that. It was that walking into the stadium again for the first time. It took me back to that 1984 Kevin Keegan game when I first walked into St James's Park as a fan, and became a fan. It was just like a brand new beginning. I felt so privileged. I felt so lucky. I went in early. I'm looking around the ground, and it was just, it was that never take this for granted moment that I got. And it felt like the rebirth of football. And I know that managers and players and fans alike felt exactly the same as me, but it was that unity. It's that bond that football brings you as a supporter. And for me, that goal was significant because it was a goal, and it was a first goal that I'd seen live, and ultimately it was a match-winning goal as well. So that was the goal for me. What about you, Mitch?
Callum Wilson, I think it was his second goal at Leicester at the end of last season. The one where he put it in off his own rebound off the post. Because if you watch that goal, there's about 26 passes leading up to it. The way we kept the possession, and the ball goes forward, goes all the way back to Dubravka. Dubravka comes back forward again, and then Shelby turns inside, loses his man in midfield, he plays a wonderful through ball, and ends up with Wilson beating the keeper off the post and then into the goal. So that whole move is properly special. And you can watch it all day long. It's proper football, which is the frustration with this lot because we know what they can do. And I think a hot second for that is Callum Wilson's overhead kick against Crystal Palace. So for me, it was between those two. But I think the whole slick move, the Leicester goal, is the one for me.
Yeah, that was a great goal, the overhead kick, to be honest as well. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, last question for you guys is player of the season. Steve?
Player of the season, it's a difficult choice, but I've gone for ASM.
Yes.
Gone for San Maximin, simply because he gets you out your seat, and when things are going right for him, it's going right for the team. And even though I've been one of his fondest critics, I suppose, if there's a phrase that you can use, because he can be frustrating and has been frustrating on many occasions when we've watched him. When he is on song, when he does lift his head up, when he does look, when he does play the early ball, the toss-up goal-wise was between the one that I chose and the goal he scored against Burnley, where he went through, where he had the defenders backing off, and then he slots the ball in. And it's moments like that you get from him. And could I say that he's probably been our most consistent player over the 12 months in terms of when he's on the pitch? He at least is trying to do something. Sometimes it doesn't come off. And as I say, sometimes he does frustrate you when he twists and, you're thinking he's going to do another medial ligament in his knee, the number of times he's twisted and turned, and you're wondering, has he got elastic knees at times? But for me, just because of what he does bring to the table in terms of skill and ability, and that maverick nature of him over the 12 months, I'll go for ASM.
I'll go for Joe Willock purely because of the performances that he put in, which kept us in the division, which I still feel played a huge part in making sure that the takeover went through. I think had we been in the Championship, I think they would have walked away. I don't think PIF would have been keen on buying a team in the Championship, especially with COVID and the pandemic situation. I don't think Mike Ashley would have been keen to sell at a reduced price, and I think we would have been stuck with him. So for all the fact that Joe Willock has not produced the goods since he signed as a permanent player, Joe Willock is probably my player of the year, just really because of that. Those goals were vital. The goals, it injected pace, it injected incitement, and got us the points that we needed. And for me, I just feel the takeover would never have gone through had we been in the Championship. So Joe Willock was mine. What about you, Mitch?
I think you both were all going to say Joe Linton. Told you there was a footballer in there. He's, for somebody to do what he's done in the circumstances and come out like some sort of caterpillar to butterfly-like transformation, that takes balls, and it takes courage, and it takes hard work, and you've got to respect that massively. The lad's built like a cruiserweight. He's fit as a fiddle. He should be able to use that bulk and that sort of the way he is physically to an advantage in the Premier League. We all knew he was never a number 9 as long as he's got a hole in his backside. That was pretty obvious. But we knew there had to be something there. And to see him come out this season in a almost to be one of the most combative box-to-box midfielders that we've seen for a little while. Bearing in mind, when he was bought, he had the number 9 shirt stuck on his back, And to give that up and to have the ability to shrug that off and say, yeah, give the number away, that isn't going to hang. I think the number 9 hung very heavy on his back. And it does with some strikers. Newcastle always will. Even in a Super League future, some number 9s will come and they'll not be able to carry that weight of the number 9 in Newcastle. And so, for me, for his ability to transform and the work he's obviously put in to do that as well, I think I'd like to credit Joe Linton with that.
Okay,
that's a good choice. What's interesting with Joe Linton is that on here, I don't know how many times we've said it. Probably all 3 of us have said it at some point over the last 12 months. That wasn't in his contract when Mike Ashley bought him that he had to play if he was fit. Now we're all sitting there going, "Thank God that clause was in his contract. We're going to play him all the time." Because
there's still things for me, Steve, with that transfer that are unanswered.
Yes,
and we're now never going to get answered.
No,
we're not going to be able to pick through the books and find out where some of that money went. I have my own theories on it, and I know you guys are aware what my theories on that are. And I think somebody who used to own the club set himself up as an intermediary with every transfer that happened in the club, because he saw how much the agents were raking off the top and fancied a piece of that action himself. But that's just pure speculation on my part. Obviously, there's nothing factual there. But at the same time, there was something weird about that transfer. The way Rafa wanted nothing to do with it. There's nothing in his playing history that puts £40 million on his head. Maybe it's now. If Man U are interested and they want to combat a box midfielder, 60 million would be great. Thanks, Man U. Let's take that. But do you know what? I'd rather have him playing well and fighting for his place in the team than fighting for us. Because when he does that, hey, you can't argue with what he's done this season so far.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Some good shouts. Get your comments in the chat. We'll try and get through them. We're only doing an hour tonight with it being New Year's Eve. Everyone's got plans, including us. But now it is time for one of our regular segments. The day I met, where you sent photographs in of Newcastle United players or staff or managers who you have had the fortune to meet, and starting off with Tony Roper's picture, him with Gaza. Looks like he's in the back page shop there. Gaza spends a bit of time in there with his sister working in the Metro Centre store. So thank you, Tony, for sending that in. Always good to see a picture of a fully fit Gaza. Abe Burness sent us this one of Colaccini. His hair, we must have just had a haircut there, and I'm not talking about Abe Burness. I think Colo had a little bit of a trim there before that photograph, but yes, nice one for sending that in. And last but by no means least, this one from Jim. My youngest son, now he has decided to follow his local team, Exeter City, with Joey Barton. Thank you for that, Jim. Keep them coming in. Send them to me, Steve, Mitch, or anybody involved with NUFC matters, and we will stick them up on the show. Thanks for sending them in, guys. So Everton was off. Southampton's now off, Steve. It's doing us a massive favour, this, isn't it? But I tell you what surprised me is just the reports in the media, some media outlets, and the attacks that we've had on social media from some fans in uproar because Newcastle's had 2 games postponed.
It's been, well, it just goes to show how this takeover has been felt right across the football world. Everybody is now looking for anything that can throw at Newcastle United in the way of negativity. And the outpouring when the Norwich game, which was our first game to be called off because of COVID, was bad enough. But then when the Southampton one got and we all expected it. I mean, to be perfectly honest, everybody up in Newcastle expected it. Even the lads and lasses who are going down or were going down more than likely expected it. And I did see quite a number of them on Twitter saying that yesterday that they didn't think they would be making the journey. I think 1 or 2 still going to make the journey and have a holiday and have a little bit of a break away because they'd already booked our hotels and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it, that this little club in the northeast is now causing so much angst when we don't even have a game. You know, it's. I don't get it myself because I'm not annoyed that you know Liverpool have had a game called off, or Man City have had a game, or Liverpool or Leeds have had games, and Villa, and you know.
Burnley, Steve. How many have Burnley had called off?
Well, Burnley had 4. I mean, at one point they had 4 games in handover, but you know, unbelievable. But and then they get the clamour of latching onto this. Is the managers coming out and saying, "Well, we don't want to play two games in 3 or 4 days or 3 days. You know, game on the 26th, game on the 28th." Well, as far as I can remember, that's happened almost every Christmas for at least the last 15 years. You know, there's always been a Boxing Day game, and invariably there's been a midweek game if Boxing Day's landed over a weekend on a Sunday or a Monday. And it's always rolled through like that. But all of a sudden, these former pros like Steven Gerrard, who played those games themselves as players, and now they're in the management hot seat, and they're going, "It's terrible. The players aren't fit. The players cannot do this, cannot do that." I understand that COVID has the potential to take an awful lot out of people, and it might not affect you in the way that it affects him, etc., etc. But that's the nature of the game. That's the nature. And when people go on about, well, my squad's smaller than your squad, well, it's not actually. You've all got a 25-man squad. You know that there's no difference. The quality might not be there, but when it comes to injuries and when it comes to illnesses, it tends to level out. And it's the same with VAR, isn't it? But we'll not get into that one about leveling out over the season because it's probably not going to. But yeah, I mean. The whole angst, it's like everybody in the country wants to just tear us down. They want to see us not only fall, but they want to put the foot on the back of the neck and rub your face right in the dirt, you know? And that's what it's all about. It's the jealousy, it's annoyance, it's the anger, and they all want us out the league. And you know what? Good luck to them. let's see what happens in May or June, whenever this league is going to finish. Because for some clubs, they're going to be playing in the same way as we did. Remember back in the 90s when we had games in hand that were of absolutely none of our being, just because other clubs were in the cup, we had been knocked out the cup, and that, for my mind, those games in hand that we ended up dropping points on cost us the league that particular year. So I'm not bothered that this team's got games in hand over, and I'm not that really bothered that with all of these people who are screaming and shouting about us, Steve.
No, me neither. And Mitch, 2 weeks break. I know we've got the FA Cup game in the middle of all of this, but it's a 2-week break from Premier League. And look, a cup run and a cup win would be fantastic. And it would be beyond the realms of possibility that we could get further in the cup than we have for a while with a bit of momentum. But it's all about staying in the Premier League, isn't it? And having a little
Absolutely.
break, getting the squad. You're getting new players, additions to the squad in the first couple of days of the transfer window is really important.
Everybody's shitting themselves. Let's be honest with you. They are. They're absolutely crap in that pants. And that tells me there's chatter amongst the agents about what's going to happen in January. And everybody knows who's going where already. So let's see how it unfolds. The rules are the rules. All 20 clubs have agreed the rules. Everybody whinging about games being called off. It's ridiculous. They're the rules. I've seen Southampton talking about they want information on the medical background of our players. I'm sorry, that's confidential information. You can't do that. Only the Premier League are allowed to know because they've taken the decision. And they said themselves, we're taking this decision reluctantly, by the way. But it's been called off because it's the rules that everybody agreed to. When they were different, Jurgen Klopp whinging about playing on the 26th and the 28th. He gets his game on the 26th called off and then gets beaten on the 28th by a team who played on the 26th. You're all whingers. You're all absolutely crybabies having a real little toys out the cot moment about stuff that's beyond your control, and all of it's beyond everybody's control. With the current variant of COVID, you're dealing with something which is contagious in a way that the previous variants haven't been. So once it gets into a camp, I fully expect the camp to be rigid with it. And I'm amazed that it's taken so long for us to be affected. However, kudos to our medical team, because we had a problem with COVID last season, and they've obviously got that bloody the game better than most people in the Premier League. Or our players are better behaved than some of them in the Premier League and stick to the protocols and do what they're told. Either way, it was inevitable it would happen. I have to say, I still think Javier Manquilo's booking at the end of the Man United game was a smart move on his behalf. If he knew what he was doing with that booking, by God, that lad needs a bonus at the end of the season. But at the same time, they're the rules. The rules are there. Everybody's agreed them. Nobody's getting an unfair advantage other than the fact there's a transfer window coming up. And like I said on Twitter, you want us to play the different rules? Suddenly everybody's saying deduct them points. What? Or no, you can't play the players you sign in January in the rearranged fixture. Get knotted. What, do you want them all to wear gimp masks and play in bloody bondage gear or something? Just, what do you want? Do you want to play by the rules that every team has agreed? Or do you want to just keep continuing as fans, as football writers, as managers, as owners and directors of other clubs to single us out? And all of this adds up. Again, nothing says cartel-like behaviour like a little bit of cartel-like behaviour. It's ridiculous. And all it's doing is fueling us. I mean, I'm watching our fans now on social media see themselves. It's fantastic because this is the best retort we can give to all of them. It's like, look, this is the rules. You've all agreed them. We're all playing by the same rules. So what's your problem? And your problem is you're A, you're jealous, and B, you're scared. You're really scared. And long may that continue. Like I said, you know, at the end of the day, I said in the book I put in our reviews this week, you know, for a little club in the north, we've made a hell of a lot of noise in the last part of 2021. We just started, guys.
Okay, on to the next section, and it is Tweet of the Week. I did take that picture of Jurgen Klopp out of Tweet of the Week because it was appropriate with what Mitch was saying. Like, but yeah, he definitely had a dummy in, scarred for life, putting that up. But Nick, good evening, mate, from the Felon. He said this week when the tune became massive. Let the owners know at the Gallagher Turnstile I was farted on by a police horse in 1982, aged 12. So I want a season ticket for now. Then I can get on with my life. I know Nick wants the show. Good luck with that, mate. We might get behind that. We might start a campaign for you, mate. Kenny Ranson, I noticed you put this one up. He says Scumderland announced their latest signing. He knocked spots of other contenders. Price was slightly inflated. One tackle and he's sure to go down. Mr. Blobby, for those of you who don't know who that is, by the way, from was it Noel's house party? I think it was. Yeah, that's where he became famous. Okay, Steve, in your best comedian's voice, I'll let you. I'm gonna have Elliot a joke on from Elliot every week. Here you go.
Elliot's jokes are brilliant, aren't they? I'm glad you're going to do them every week, Steve. My missus and I sang "Eye of the Tiger" 5 times on karaoke night at the pub tonight. We're going through a bit of a rocky patch.
Golden. Big shout out to Fire and Skill, who was doing the non-league rounds this week. I think he was at Blythe. He went to Mario was singing his little heart out at the bar.
Oh, hey, brilliant photograph. There he is. He's got his pint of Stella as well.
He has. Good stuff, mate. I hope you have a good new year. Brian Nicholson said, I'm more disappointed at Eddie's press conference being cancelled than the game. I like listening to Howe more so after putting up with the crap Bruce came out with.
Probably right. Well done.
This one was from Wall's End Mag.
Yeah, Wall's End Mag. And I think we know who he's getting at here. Paper clappers equals games should be abandoned and points deducted. And I quite agree with him. Absolutely spot on. I think that was aimed at Leicester City, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely horrendous. Craig Geordie Horseman basically pointing out this to us. He says, hopefully one deal we can pull off in January. And it was from a Sky Sports News parody account, which said, breaking, sources close to the Saudi consortium that are in talks to take over at Newcastle United claim they will make a shock bid for Jordan Pickford. He will be offered £50 a week to lace Martin Dubravka's boots. Very good. Very good. Toffee Lurker sums up the mood of the fans, which is what we were talking about before from other clubs, Steve.
Yes, this is obviously Toffee Lurker being an Evertonian. A complete stunt by the barcodes. Thanks for that. Nobody they sign in January should be eligible to play the rearranged fixture. You don't say no to requests from the Saudi state, though. Everton Football Club. Oh, dear me. Has it got them riled? And I tell you what, he's not the only one, is it? There's been umpteen from all sorts of clubs come up with
very sour.
Very
sour. Jonathan Walters said Newcastle need to stay in the Premier League. Such a fantastic club and what a fan base. When St James's Park has an atmosphere like today, the Man United game, there's not many places in the world like it. Thank you, Jonathan. Nice to get a little bit of recognition as a fan base. Kieran as well put this one out. Newcastle fans in the away to Zenit in the Champions League in 3 years. I did happen to comment on that one underneath by saying, you would have our tops off though, Kieran. So
there'll be no coats.
We wouldn't be wrapped up like that, I'm afraid. Davey Laws put this one, Steve.
Yes, isn't it funny how Steve Bruce claimed to be the biggest fan of NUFC when he was the coach? How he supported them from a young age, but hasn't been back since he has given the boot. Plastic fan. He is, that's for sure.
Oh, there's Penman.
No, there he is. And Mr. Al-Walid.
And Al-Walid. I couldn't. I really did because of the superb lighting. I couldn't recognise you. So happy New Year, lads! When it comes.
You saying Happy New Year?
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, there we go. Good stuff. And it looks like Al Walid looks exactly like he looked at Felling Cricket Club.
It says he looks exactly like the Southern Cricket Club.
Oh,
Yeah.
He knows what I mean. He knows what I mean. Good stuff.
Tired, yeah.
Happy New Year, Newcastle.
Brilliant stuff, Al Walid. Good to see you. Okay, we'll crack on with these. This was just a little banter between Jarvis Reiner and a couple of people. Play many cup quarterfinals, do you go shite? This was in response to Liam's Sunderland's big day out. It's just a normal fixture for Newcastle, levels to this game. And Jay responded, we were in 2 in 2020. A bit of banter on there. And then we had Daz, been on here a few times now, Daz, because he always speaks sense. Players earning up to 300 grand a week moaning about too many games, while fans lose money with travel and hotels. Shocking. Refund the travelling fans out your own pockets then. I couldn't agree more with you, Daz. Honestly, it is a joke, and fans are always thought of last. 100% Mags put this up. Just watching Never Been Kissed, starring Drew Barrymore from 1999, and my family, and this beauty popped up in the background. It's a Newcastle shirt.
In a Newcastle top. Dear me, class.
That's great. That absolutely brilliant. Never noticed that ever. Frank Chipperfield was a bit disappointed that he didn't get invited onto our Christmas sing-along. He went, there's been some low points in me 77 days as a Newcastle fan, but not getting an invite to sing on this is the lowest I've ever felt. Maybe next year. Yeah, maybe next year, Frank. We might give you an invite to send a chorus in. Dominic Skur says 30 seconds in and Manchester United fans are singing about Alan Shearer. Rent-free, even 25 years on. And Steve, did you have a pair of these?
No, never played in goal. You wouldn't want me near a goal.
Yeah, I had a pair of them.
Well, 90s football memory said if you didn't have a pair back in the 90s, then you definitely had a mate that did. I think we can all nod our head in approval to those. I'll just love this one from George. You know what I'm like. Sometimes I pick up a tweet, which is just a photograph or whatever. And over 40 years apart, Christmas Day, 1978, Newcastle struggling to come to terms with relegation to a side, struggling to avoid relegation. All the best to all NUFC supporters worldwide. Here's to brighter times ahead. Brilliant that. He's obviously gone back home for Christmas and took a photograph in a similar strip with a similar scarf. Fantastic. This one was good, Steve, from Paddy Power.
Eddie Howe appears to have turned Joe Linton into prime Zidane.
Not far off.
Turned him into something.
Not far off, it has to be said. Peter Crouch just seemed to like the pre-game music. He said it always makes him smile when he was commentating on the Newcastle-Manchester United game. This was a nice one from Whitby Mag. I did mention The Great Escape in one of my tweets after Manchester United's game. So he sent me this, which I think is rather fitting. And let's hope that The Great Escape continues when we resume on the 15th. I've stuck this one in because I got this straight away, lads. Did you? Can you get it, Steve? Can you see that? And can you guess who that is?
No, I can't. I can't work it out at all.
Mitch?
Is it Benny Christensen?
No, same era though. Look at the facial hair. Mickey Quinn. Well done. Yeah, I got it straight away. Mickey Quinn.
More like Ben.
Yeah, it's given us an idea for a new segment, though. So thanks for that, Doug. Thanks for giving us. Thanks for giving that. Beth, you had me creased with this one. Sometimes it's about the photographs, and it doesn't have to be loads of words. How it started versus how exclamation brackets he is going. Very clever, of course. That was the Steve Bruce picture, where people were laughing on the latest FIFA game where he was actually running faster than some of the players. But yeah, that was brilliant. And this one was funny as well. Tweet of the week, bizarre. And you can't really see that, but it says, this was Newcastle United's official club account saying, what has been the best Newcastle United present that you have received today? And they did have a lot of, things sent to them. And this was one of them. A cup that Brooksy got, Steve Bruce with tits. Bizarre that somebody would even consider making that. Even more bizarre that somebody would even consider sending it to somebody for Christmas. And
Yeah.
as always, I'll put a disclaimer out. That wasn't my idea. I'm not being derogatory to women. I apologize if the word that I've used there to describe the female anatomy caused any offense, but it is called Tweet of the Week. That was a tweet that was put out there, and that is the reason that's the reason I put it out, just to keep everybody happy. Yeah, that was superb. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Very, very good week for tweets. Thanks for everybody for sending them. Don't forget, tag us in them if you see any good tweets of the week. Okay, we've got about 16, 17 minutes left. Transfer window's opening. I don't know whether you knew, Steve. I mean, lots of whispers, lots of rumours. We've been discussing it. It feels as if we've been discussing it since October, who we're going to sign. I guess the question that's on everybody's lips is, have you heard any whispers, any news? I mean, you and Mitch have not let you down, so far with whispers, and you've got good contacts. Is there anything that you've heard that might be close to completion?
The one I heard on Monday night which was doing the rounds, that was very, very close, was Gini Wijnaldum on loan. Now that fascinates me. The fact that we could to play, and I think that would be a marvellous move for Newcastle United, to get a player of the stature of Gini Wijnaldum back at Newcastle. And that's the one I've heard. The other one I heard a couple of weeks ago, and hasn't entered into the equation with any of the press guys until today, were actually saw it mentioned by a certain reporter from the Telegraph, which was Harry Winks. Those are the two that I've heard. I've obviously heard the Trippier and various other players names mentioned, but the two that fascinated me, and the two that one in particular that hasn't been on the radar of many other people, is the Harry Winks one, Steve. So whether or not there is some legs in either of them in terms of a potential move to Newcastle, but I think there would be both excellent acquisitions in our midfield. And the idea that if you've got a striker out and you have to play somebody up front, and you're looking for someone who can get into the box and can play a deep line role, but can also play an attacking role in midfield in the way that Wijnaldum can, because you saw him in the Euros. What a fantastic competition he had, and he's still quality. And you wouldn't have been wanted by Barcelona and then suddenly end up going to PSG if you weren't a quality player. And the fact that we could be in for somebody like that does excite me, Steve. Yeah,
definitely. Dodo Bird, big shout out to you, my friend. Great to see that picture of you and your good lady that you sent us as well. So have a happy Christmas. I hope you had a happy Christmas. Have a great new year to you and your good lady. Thanks for all your support, mate. And I'm glad you enjoyed the shows. Mitch, any flight records that you've seen? Anyone flying in tomorrow?
Nothing that I've seen at the minute. I've heard the Winks rumour. Steve and I discussed this a couple of weeks ago. Now, Gini Wijnaldum, I wasn't too sure about until I spoke to somebody at a place called Aspetar, which is a big sports medicine place in Doha, which is where PSG send all their players for rehab and treatment and things like that. And the word from Aspetar is that Wijnaldum's going to Newcastle, which is interesting.
Very.
Now, again, the trouble with stuff like this for all of it is things can be set up and then fall apart at the last minute. So you stick your hat on something happening and it doesn't happen, and you end up egg on your face. But when I hear something like that from somewhere like that, and it tallies with something else that Steve's hearing from somewhere else, that's when we get excited about the transfer, because you're like, well, there's no information sharing going on there. How can that cross-reference with each other? So yeah, that's something that we're certainly in talks to bring Wijnaldum back in a and I think that's a sensible move. I think we're going to have to be shrewd because of the position we're in, it's either got to be really high profile loans, or it's got to be deals with release clauses depending on relegation or not, and things like that, which are difficult deals to do. They're really difficult deals to do. The loans are easier to do. The one that excites me is if we can somehow get Aaron Ramsey in from Juventus, I think what a quality addition to our squad that would be. If we were to do Ramsey and Ronaldo into that side, dear me, what a midfield we've got. You've gone that point. And I really need to see our backline show. We need a centre back at least, and we need a full back. We probably really could do more. But, some of that might depend on how far on in terms of Lewis we can play. Because I still think Lewis is a solution at left full back. But that looked like a bad hamstring when I went. And obviously then we've got the recent injuries to SM and Wilson. We need a centre forward. Callum Wilson doesn't play a full season. I don't think he's ever played a full season anyway. So we need somebody who can do two things: play instead of him, and on occasion play alongside him. And again, are we looking for a unicorn in that, or we're looking for just something different, a different option? And I know we'll be linked with a couple of big Italian strikers, and that would be an interesting pairing to have a bigger, more physical striker alongside this. But then somebody who then, if Wilson is out injured, could then hold his own up front as a number 9 alone. And that would need to be somebody with a physicality and a presence to hold the ball up, to bring people like Palmer on and Maximin into the game by holding the ball up and allowing midfielders to run past them. And that might get the best out of Willock, allowing Willock to play in a more advanced way. So I'm certainly excited by this transfer window. The word, obviously Al Walid's here at the minute, and the word out to Saudi is they want to spend. They really want to spend. And so that excites me too. What I really would like to see, and this is the bit I've got no idea of whatsoever, is how well we've got our ducks in a row. However, with no Premier League game now until the 15th, 16th of January, and an FA Cup game ahead of that, we have a little bit of time. And that's time that we probably felt we didn't have until the Southampton game was called off. And that's also why everybody else is crapping their pants.
Yeah, 100%. But it's going to be interesting to see how things progress. It's going to be an exciting month for Newcastle fans, and it's not very often we've been able to say that during January. That is for certain. Okay, last few things to get through them to see out the year. First and foremost, let me get the picture up if I can find it. Of course, the Christmas jumper that was up for grabs on the Twitter account at Steve Wraith, my Twitter account. I think I've deleted the photograph to make space for others. Anyway, we've got a winner. American Geordie, you are the winner. It looked like it was £69, I think that John said it went for. So Steve Hasty and John from QTech have been copied in, and they will sort that out for you. As always, QTech are giving away a prize, and you have to collect clues. We've got clue number 3 today. The first clue, of course, was this: somersault. So you need to write the answer to that down, who you think that is. The second one is this: 1st of April, 1974. And the next one is this. This is your third clue: Victoria. So write the answers to those clues down, and you will be able to give us your answer. Now, don't be ever saying that we don't do what the viewers ask. NUFC Matters always provides. And I've seen the messages. I've chose to ignore them. But hot from his holiday home, here he is, back by popular demand, Sir Keith Patterson, live in the hot. I can't hear a word you say, like. You can't hear a word we're saying. All he needs to do is laugh, because he's moving into an internet section. Okay, well, I think everybody knows what's coming here. It's one of your favourite segments. It's called Tune Look Alike. Hiya, Keith. How are you?
Sorry if you can't hear us.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
I'm just on my mobile phone, so I'm just thought I'd jump in and join you, but I'm in the Canaries with my missus, who's stood in the background there.
Good stuff. Right, if you can just stand there, and I'm gonna.
I don't know what's happening, but I can't hear you. I don't know why.
Don't worry, Keith. We're gonna play a tune like a likey.
Mike.
Just laugh. Just
Don't know.
laugh.
Come, Mike.
All right, it's tune
Is that
like a
better?
likey. It's tune like a likey, Keith. All we need you to do is laugh. So coming up first is this one, Alan McKenzie. My last lookalike of 2021. Both lethal weapons, and that is Joe Linton and a machine gun by the looks of it, which is great. This one is Ashley Banjo and Jamal Lascelles. What do you think of that, lads?
Hey, well, the least said the better, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that does look good. This one, is that Aquaman?
It is,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Aquaman and Joe Linton.
Everyone can see it here.
This one was sent in by Roger.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Andre, and I'm not sure who that guy is.
It's Andrea's, I think it's Andrea's police file picture, is it?
Poor Andre, getting compared to somebody who've got no idea who it is. Keith Patterson there, Alan McKenzie, last one before Christmas. That's his second last one. Went the perfect stunt double. Bruce Willis in his own 2021 movie Fortress was ill this day, and thankfully Sir Keith was able to stand in for him. That's good. All right, we've got the next one. Lee sent us this one.
That I can see that straight away. That Popeye.
Yeah, Popeye and a Bangladesh from Aston Villa. We've got this one: Ian Hull, Paul McCartney, and Bernardo Silva.
Yeah. Yes, I'd go with that one. This one, though.
This one was a classic.
Yes.
Ranić and the guy who just used to say, "Let's have some."
Yeah, the Wheelston Raider.
Wheelston Raider. Yeah, that was good. A couple of people sent us that this week. This one was from Yano, who's had a bit of stick on Twitter for obvious reasons this week, but he did get back to basics. And this one was David Moyes and Zelda from Terrahawks.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Which we can see. This one he sent Maximatic from Fireball XL5 and Bielsa, who's getting a bit of stick these days.
He is, isn't he? Aye, that's a good one, that.
And this one, Peter Gabriel. And I'm not sure who this other guy is. Something from is it from the Wedding Singer or something like that? No, Hinchcliffe's commentating. I'm listening to Gabriel after watching I Need a Good Doctor, right? I've got you. Okay.
Freddie Highmore. Yeah.
That's it. Okay. And then we've got this one. This was from 100% Mags. It was another YouTuber. And again, Rubenstein or something. Two people who look very similar, but two people who haven't got a clue who they are. This one was sent by Rocky Toon in Santa Claus movie. He says it was a Toon lookalike. And he says it's Mo Salah.
Mo Salah?
Yeah.
What?
Now, Keith, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Right. Keith, your internet's not great, mate. We'll try to get you on so you can laugh at the next couple because we've got a good one here from Albert. What do you think of that, Mitch?
Was that bad hair there, Steve?
Yeah.
I'm saying no.
Yeah.
No.
And
Albert's turned into my nemesis, isn't he?
he definitely has. This one was from Ian Johnson. The three Amigos look alike. Eddie Howe and Nicky Byrne from Westlife.
Yeah.
See?
This one was from Chris, the German tenor Jonas Kaufmann and Sky Sports Keith. I thought that was pretty good. Apart from the hair, I thought you did quite well there, Chris, here, to be honest. Like, that was a pretty good one. A couple here from our friend Tom Dixon, Joey Barton, and and Jean-Baptiste, Emmanuel Zong, and Wagner and Jonas. And Tom sent this one in as well. Robin Hood and Ryan Taylor.
Now that I can see that. I can see a similarity there.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely.
Getting down to the business end now, and yeah, Tom sent this one in again. I can see it. I need a bit more work on the beard, I think, and I certainly haven't got that much hair. But I can see where you're coming from. I've just done an epic true crime interview with Lee Davies, and he hasn't escaped at all because he's been compared to Ben Jacobs.
Well, hey, you know what it is. Ben has for this year. I mean, he's been on this program more times than Keith.
Yeah, he definitely has. This one was from Lee as well.
Now that is quite spooky. That one, isn't it?
Who is the guy on the right?
I haven't a clue.
I can't. I don't know which one's Fernandez. I've got to be perfectly honest. This one, I am surprised this one has not been done before. William Hartnell and Steve Hasty, because that is your doppelganger.
Yeah, that. I didn't see that at all, mate.
William Hartnell, yeah, definitely. And he was quite a distinguished actor back in the day. The first Doctor.
He was the first Doctor Who, wasn't he?
The first Doctor Who, yeah. But definitely you. I've got a couple of belters, mate. This one from Sam. Christmas has taken its toll on Steve Hasty.
I did reply to Sam this afternoon on Twitter with that one.
Was it an expletive? This one from Ugly Camel was a late Henry. A character in AD 802701 from the 1960 film of H.G. Wells, The Time Machine, and Peter Beardsley. Except it's the wrong colour hair, but I could see
just a fringe. That's all, wasn't it?
Yeah, I could see where he was coming from. Yeah, Chipper sent this one as well. He just basically says, since when did Borough Mag manage Bristol City? Looking a bit like Nigel Pearson there. Joe put this one up. He says, what a joy. It's been a pleasure to meet Stu Penman. Somebody underneath, thought it was Chipper's put when Ronnie Cray met Bruce Willis. Last couple, Yano again. He was just starting to go mad on his putting together different pictures, I think, by this stage, but he seems to watch a lot of Thunderbirds. The bottom one's definitely Graham Jones and some character and somebody from Thunderbirds. Some of these you've got to tell me who they are because I've got no idea. And then again, it's two lookalike, but who are they? I know Almiron and I know Kraft and somebody. Is that somebody from Joe 90? Possibly?
Yeah.
That is Joe 90. And I'm not sure who the person is alongside Almiron. We're having a guess who these people are. You know who it looks like? There's a shade of Paul from the Toon Review in that photo. Yeah, it could be. It's not though. It's definitely not. But it's definitely not. This one was from Paul, lookalike, Tuchel from Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel after bottling top four because Mason Mount has what? Had the sniffles. Yeah, there is some pretty good lookalikes of Thomas Tuchel flying around. It has to be said. And the last two coming in at number 2 was this one. You almost mimic the pose. You almost mimic the pose, but that was good. The winner for me this week wasn't Steve Hasty. It was this one from Ian Hull. He says could be another lookalike. Darth Vader and Billy Joel. Yes.
Harmonica.
Yes. Yeah. Billy Joel. So thanks for sending them in. Keep them coming in over the new year, and we will come back. Hopefully, we'll get Keith back on when he's back, just to have a laugh, basically, because a lot of people saying you should bring him on just for the lookalikes for the laugh. So thanks for him for trying anyway. But that is your Toon lookalike. And Julie, to finish the old year and welcome the new, here we go. I've got a double header for you. Okay, first up, Liam Jobs. Steve, you take credit for finding Osama bin Laden. You absolute whopper. Thanks, Liam. And then this one. This is one we suggested we actually called Joe Linton J7 on the show. And Dale just basically put, he really is a self-obsessed bullshitting. Yeah, I mean, that was quite a mouthful, but definitely deserve to be in there. So those are your two for this week. That is your Trolls of the Week. Just a big thank you to everybody who watches the channel. This is how the channel did in December. 678 new subscribers, over 300,000 total views, and 4.5 million minutes watched. Thank you very much for watching and supporting us. We never take it for granted. We always say that. It makes a big, big difference to us when we've got an audience like you to provide content and entertainment for. Any message? Any message, Mitch? Go on.
I'm going to say, having been back last week, and had so many kind words from so many people in bars outside the food bank. It was just a blur, really. Can't believe how many people came up and said hi, and wanted just to touch base, to shake your hand, and say hi. It really, it's touching and humbling, really humbling. That everybody went out their way to come and say hello. It kind of blew me mind a little bit initially. You know, when someone, are you Neil Mitchell? Who are you like? You know, it's a bit mind blowing, but at the same time so humbling. And thank you to everybody for the support for the channel and the good work everybody does for the food bank.
Steve, any message?
It's been an absolutely brilliant 2021. I've met so many fantastic people over the last 12 months. 99% of them from probably the NUFC Matters family, the people who have watched those shows, Steve, the 7 days that you've been on. It's been a pleasure to chat to everybody. Met some great people from some other podcasts, people who have introduced themselves at the food bank, people who have come over. Everyone who has donated to the food bank, both on match days, on the collections that we've done online, the virtual bucket, and just made themselves available to really support what has been a very, very difficult year for an awful lot of people. Just want to say a huge thanks to them. Huge thanks to all of you who are watching the show, the kind words that have come back, and just great when we do have the opportunity to meet, to just shake hands and talk about football, talk about Newcastle United, and talk about what is hopefully going to be a fantastic 2022.
Big thank you, as always, to Spider VPN for all your internet security. Google Spider VPN, they come up at the top of the search list. Thanks, lads. Thanks for sticking with us, and thanks for going into January with us as well. Thanks to skipsandbins.com. Telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website www.skipsandbins.com. Easy, contract free, and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to L&G Family Funeral Directors, 01913897245. And Garden of Healing Dispensary, CBD, hemp, and cannabinoid specialists. www.thegohd.com. Thanks to Arcot Interiors for all your kitchen necessities. You can find them on Heaton Road and Google them. Arcot Interiors, they come up at the top of the Google search for kitchens. And qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle. Thanks to John also for doing our website, nufcmatters.com, and sorting all the merch, all the free merch as well for the food bank. Thanks also to jabsignature.co.uk, the makers of all of our flyers and promotional material. And you want to subscribe, hit the Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right-hand corner. Click on that and you can subscribe for free. Hit the thumb up to like the video, click share to share to your social media, and drop into the comments box under the video to leave a message. You can also hear us as a podcast on iTunes and Spotify and other podcast providers. Well, that is the end of the year. I just want to say personally, thank you to everybody in the chat. Thanks to them newly addition of moderators in the chat as well, who do a fantastic job. Thanks to everybody who contributes to the show, from the Monday show, which I take a night off now. Big thank you to Chris and to Pete for running that when I'm off on a Monday. A big thank you to Liam Kennedy for giving us great information throughout the year. A big thank you to George, to Neil, to Steve, to Stu, and to Steve Wilkinson for joining us on the Retro Show and making that such an enjoyable change from talking about everyday Newcastle events. Thanks to Supermac and Gibbo as well. And a big thank you to Holly for coming on board and making such a great impression on the Newcastle fan base and doing some wonderful work on the show and away from the show. But last but by no means least, thank you to my two best mates in Newcastle United's community, Steve Hasty and Mitch, because I think we made something very special, lads. And, it's a pleasure to go on the journey with you. And I'm looking forward to 2022. Have a great year, lads. Have a great new year tonight. Don't get too drunk. Look forward to seeing you next Friday, lads. Take care.
Cheers. All the best.
Take care, everyone. Happy New Year.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's